Good evening and welcome to Taking the Initiative. I'm Reverend Kuntze, your host for these conversations with people who are making a difference in our communities and in the world. I'm the Executive Director of New Bethany Ministries in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where we serve the hungry and the homeless and the needy and the mentally disabled because people like you volunteer and donate to make all of that good work happen. Thank you. You know, if you watch the mainstream media these days, you'd think that just about the only things happening in the world are presidential elections and the economic crisis. Well, today we're going to be talking about something else happening in a different place in the world, in Jamaica. And I'll be visiting with leaders of Teams for Medical Missions who have been serving there on our behalf. Stay tuned right after these short announcements. Welcome back to Taking the Initiative. You know, for 6 or 8 years, a men's group from a local church has been once a month cooking at the soup kitchen of New Bethany Ministries. And a few years ago, I walked in and one of my friends from that team weren't there. They told me he was in Jamaica. I assumed on vacation on the beaches, but I guessed wrong. Since then, a retired physician named Dr. Don Fulmer has opened my eyes to ministry and mission opportunities in Jamaica and does not go on vacation. And he's here tonight to talk to us about that. Welcome, Don.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. And the Reverend Ray Shive is the Executive Director of Teams for Medical Missions, and his career has included everything from pastoral service to missionary service in South Africa, and it's good to have you here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, I mentioned it, Teams for Medical Missions. It's the organization. It must be an exciting story you have to tell. You pulled Don out of some of the best, most basic service to neighbors of feeding the hungry. So tell me a little about the story. What is Teams for Medical Missions?
Well, Teams for Medical Missions has been on the scene now since the early 1990s. It was started by a Makunji, Dr. John Kaufman, who became aware of a great need for medical missions in rural Jamaica. We're not talking about the Jamaica that most tourists see and travelers, but might say the real Jamaica, the very rural, impoverished areas. And aware of that, he was able to make some inroads with the Ministry of Health, receive permissions to be able to set up clinics as long as we would continue to supply the personnel for them. And so for the past several years, this has been going on. I've been involved with it for about 8 years myself, along with my wife, and of course, numerous volunteers. But the ministry has grown, and we are beyond, I shouldn't say beyond, but inclusive of other aspects other than the medical side. We have builders, we have teachers, and we have great opportunities in the public schools as well with what we call J teams.
And you've been there a few times yourself, I understand.
Many, many times, yes.
What drew you into this kind of work?
Just a great opportunity to meet people at their most needy points of life, spiritually in great need. There are those who have no understanding whatsoever of the gospel. There are also those who know the gospel and have a relationship with Jesus Christ who need much encouragement, much help, and much support. There are churches there that have very little in what we're familiar with here in this country, and so we had an opportunity to minister to people physically by means of physical ministry, gaining access to their hearts, to their minds, to go beyond that and to share the gospel with them and to bring some of the full, abundant life that Jesus Christ said that He came to give into their experience.
Now, you mentioned, Ray, the real Jamaica. You know, I suppose, and Don already is chuckling here about this, that, when I first heard you went to Jamaica there, Don, I thought of course, I thought a place where everybody goes to lie on the beaches and go to resorts or something like that. The real Jamaica that you folks have seen, what is that like?
We go by those places.
The ones I read about,
Yeah.
right?
But the contrast there between the people who inhabit those resorts with their condominiums that sell for $3.5 million a piece, across the highway and on up the hills from there, are the people with. These are the people with no homes, with shacks that they live in, with no plumbing and no electricity, and sometimes no windows. And they are more content, it seems to me, than the people who live in the resorts and fight for dollars and prestige and power.
Yes.
So we minister to the people who are in the greatest need physically, and they seem to be a very happy, generally content and friendly people with great needs, but they're satisfied with it. They seem to be, they're very appreciative of anything we do for them, and that's what's fun about it, because you feel as though you've accomplished something when you've been there.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned the J teams, the Jamaica teams, and so on. Now that obviously a crucial part, and I want to get into some of the details of the medical aspect, but obviously that's a crucial part, but they're broader, right?
Yes, that's right.
What kind of people?
Well, we have, first of all, I don't want to let one very important component get lost here. We have a missionary couple, career missionary couple, that are there full-time, carrying on church strengthening, church establishing ministries, working with pastors and so forth and so on. But yes, historically, Teams for Medical Missions began as a short-term medical mission deployment organization. And that continues to be a major component of our year. That's 4 times a year, and we'll be leaving actually very shortly for another one of those ministry trips. But on that 18-member trip, we also not only have doctors, nurses, and pharmacists, but we also have a team of builders. These are people skilled in some cases, unskilled in others, but able to handle a hammer and a screwdriver, whatever else is necessary, tools maybe. And then we have those who are experienced children's workers who will minister in the public schools each day, giving devotions to the elementary schools and what they call the basic schools, which are preschools. And then in the clinics themselves, these same teachers throughout the day spend, the rest of the day that is, they spend time talking with the children, with their parents, and just generally moving around to counsel and to tell Bible stories, work Bible puzzles, and generally kind of have a mini vacation Bible school hour by hour throughout the clinic day.
Sounds
What's
like a role
to me about this is the fact that it is continuous. We send a team down there every 3 months, and we keep records.
Not
on the
one of
people we
these
see.
once in a lifetime, one shot deal.
Yeah,
Not
this
at all.
isn't once and done and go home. You know, we know these people. They get to be friends after a while. Met them a few times, and we keep records on them so that we know that they're taking their medication and that they're improving on what we've done for them with their blood pressure or their diabetes. We give them a 3 months supply of medicine while we're there, so that next time we're there, we see that they've been taking their medicine and it's doing well. It is a continuous program, and so that's what's unique about it to me, and what makes it so attractive.
The medical care that the poor, needy people would get where you serve, what kind of medical care would they get without you?
Okay, it's like one big house call.
Yeah.
You can't take the office there, but you can take basic instruments. You can take lots of medicine. We take some $4,000 worth of medicine with us when we go down there, and we examine people. We can help them with their diabetes and their blood pressure, and we can't do any surgery, or at least very minor surgery that we have to do there, but we can help them to feel better with some exercises or physical therapy, habit techniques. We try to get them to take good care of themselves physically between times, and it's rewarding to see that they do that.
Ray,
I think
what
you
do you...
also, sorry, I was just going to say, I think you also asked what kind of care they would be receiving
Without
were
you.
not for Teams for Medical Missions, and that's it's a difficult question to answer. But the areas that we have intentionally chosen to focus upon are areas where there is virtually nothing available, except at great cost to them, taking taxis and then, of course, paying the fees that are
Yes.
involved. Even in Jamaica, where health care is supposedly free, the system is old, and there are just, it's very, very difficult for the average person to get any kind of health care, let alone anything on the level that we're able to provide.
And is there any kind of health network that you connect with in any way? Or
Well, yes, we do our best. I mean, obviously, we are limited in what we can do as a mobile clinic, and working within the parameters that we have, we do have to refer to the hospitals for special tests and,
Sure.
and certainly any surgeries or additional treatment.
The nearest hospital to us is of size is on the other side of the island, at
Kingston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how about relationships with, sometimes it's a sensitive matter to be coming into another country, another culture, another government system. Any other kinds of issues that you have
Not
to
really.
deal with relationship building like that?
Well, as far as the medical side is concerned, I'll speak to that, not because I'm the doctor, but because I tend to deal with the folks that, where we need to have permissions and so forth. And we find just wide open arms of welcome. We're
Yeah.
very able to minister freely, and we're welcome. They've come to know us now, they've come to trust us, they know the quality of care that we're able to provide, and they're more than happy to have us come. As far as the churches are concerned, because our focus really is the church, Bill, our ministry is not really in the clinics, that is the government clinics or the formal medical facilities. We've intentionally chosen to move into the churches. We have our clinics all in churches, and that's to give those churches some credibility and some visibility in their community as a group of people that love their neighbors.
Yeah.
And in that way, certainly the churches, their pastors, their church leaders are more than willing to have us come, providing them with a tool to be able to accomplish their purposes in their communities.
One of our major reasons for going there is to help to strengthen the church,
Yes.
because we want to make the church visible to the people locally and let them know that there's help there. And so we provide that while we're there, and that is encouraging to them, and it helps to bring people into the church and to saving knowledge.
Now, Don mentioned like $4,000 worth of medical supplies on a trip. Where are you getting all that?
Well,
Ray?
actually, $4,000 is what it costs us. It's really more like tens of thousands of dollars that
Yes.
we're able to take. But these donations come in various ways. Sometimes doctors are able to provide some samplings of things that they've received. More often than not, though, they're coming from hospitals. We do receive funds that allow us to purchase from special organizations that enable us to get things at low cost, sometimes at no cost whatsoever. Sometimes we pay for, but we're able to multiply that meager $4,000 many times.
And sometimes people like you watching are the ones that are helping
Absolutely.
donate. And boy, I want to get back and hear about your personal experiences in Jamaica. And we have some pictures of some of this good work. But first, we need to take a brief break for some important community messages. Stay tuned. I'll see you in a couple minutes. Welcome back to Taking the Initiative. I'm Reverend Bill Kuntze, and with me this evening from Teams for Medical Missions are Reverend Ray Shive, the Executive Director, and Dr. Don Fulmer, a volunteer. Don,
Yeah.
why did you volunteer this way? I mean, just to skip out of the soup kitchen?
Well, as a matter of fact, having been in touch with poverty as we do at the soup kitchen, I notice it's rewarding to be able to be of service to people, and it's just kind of fun to do that. So this opportunity came up to travel on a mission. I had never considered that before, but I decided I would just give it a try, and it's been contagious.
Contagious. You've gone back 5 times.
This is the 5th time, yes.
And I think we've got some pictures of some of your recent times there, and of others that we'll get to see there. I guess When you see people, do you see they just like you see one an hour, like perhaps in your old office in Bethlehem, or what's it like?
Well, not exactly. The 3 doctors and 3 nurses and 2 pharmacists cover maybe 700 people in 4 days, 4.5 days there.
So you're seeing quite a few.
We see them briefly, but we have some quality time with them.
Yeah.
We can talk with them, we can pray with them, and we can encourage them.
And in places like, indeed, your clinics are inside
In the
church facilities.
This is actual
That's what they look like. Yeah.
location.
They set up a clinic for us with an offices made of sheets.
Here's a pediatrician actually from Ohio who has been with us several times and does a wonderful job.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we know this gentleman here.
Oh, here's the office. Yeah.
That's the office. And do you make appointments with people? I guess you have a diverse team.
Oh
up
yes,
there.
from all over the United States, but many from the Lehigh Valley, and most from the Lehigh Valley. We're happy to say that, and maybe we can talk at some point about some of the other ways that Lehigh Valley people can be involved. But
you
certainly
bet.
as doctors, nurses, and pharmacists, always need them.
And the teams get some training, I understand, to serve wonderful kids like we're seeing.
Training.
Before, I mean, you don't just say, I'm coming tomorrow, right?
Right. Well, we do a lot. We're not always able to get face to face, but we do an awful lot by using, the Marvel technology, emails, and we have, of course, manuals and so forth. And we're able to do a lot of on-the-ground training once we arrive. We do have a pre-field orientation time that we're able to do, especially for those who are local.
And people need to get any, I presume, some shots and some preparation. I've always had to do that for mission trips.
Just a very moderate amount, believe it or not. Yeah, we're not in a health risk situation in Jamaica for the most part, just the normal things that a doctor would want to be concerned about himself in handling some of the things that he has to do from day to day. But ordinarily it's just tetanus and that sort of thing.
Just ordinary things.
Routine travel precautions.
Right.
And I think we also have some pictures. The team's service includes other kinds of activities.
Here's a church where we set clinics. There's the Maranatha Baptist Church. That's one of our favorite churches down there. And in there, the teachers gather the children together while we're seeing the adults, and they teach.
And
here's Sunday school.
That's the classrooms, right?
Well, this is a very special situation. It's in a little village, believe it or not, called Ecuador, and it's probably, without argument, the most poverty-ridden section where we work. And on Sunday mornings, we gather together. Used to be under a mango tree till they cut it down. And, but we have a little roadside Sunday school that was begun by our missionaries in Jamaica some time ago.
Yeah. Now, you talked about housing. So this is typical housing?
This is typical housing. Yeah, this is a kind of house that a mother was living in with 2 of her daughters. They had a mattress. This is what kitchen looks like. And then outside was her stove. This is the stove. It's a barrel with 4 stones on it, and she's cooking on that. Of course, it had to be done outside. So the builders, with preparation and material there, put together a new house for her.
Whole new house. So one of the projects.
And we put in a propane stove for her so she could cook inside.
Actually, this mother had been living in a chicken coop. That you saw earlier was actually a chicken coop. This is her nearly completed house, and she even has a water supply
Now she has a
system.
water supply off the roof. She doesn't have to walk a mile to get water in a jug.
And probably more sanitary, therefore, is also, I presume,
Oh, yes.
for
yes.
long-term.
Much easier to keep clean.
These are very, as you can see, very simple dwellings, but they go up quickly. A building team's able to put them together in just a few days, and they fit the community. People really desire them. They ask for them, and we work through the churches then in deciding how we're going to proceed and with whom we'll be able to whom we'll be able to provide such a dwelling.
So there'd be a role for almost any kind of person. What would it? If I want to sign up and go with Don on his next trip and skip out at the soup kitchen myself as well. How much will it cost me? What do I need to do?
Well, the costs, of course, are fluctuating to some extent based upon the fluctuating cost of airfare these days.
Yeah.
But usually for around $1,500, that covers virtually every single expense that the J-Team member will have. And the way to get involved is simply to contact us at the address and so forth that are on the screen from time to time, and also just go to our website. There's a means able to register your interest, and of course we can then be involved at that point.
I presume there's various kinds of commitments. Some people commit to going over and over, like Dr. Fulmer, and others, I presume, might just go once.
That's correct.
Sure.
How long are the trips?
About 9 days. We leave on a Saturday and come back the following Sunday, which is a total of 9 days. A day traveling each way.
So it's a commitment of a week of your personal time and some of your resources. If someone really has some skills you want and heart in the right place, do you have ways to, and they can't pay the whole fare or something?
It's amazing that when a person is responding to this opportunity, according to the leading of the Lord, He has ways of making that money part happen.
It's
There
out
are also some times that we sense that the Lord would have us as an organization try to extend some special help, and yes, we do what we can. However, we don't really have a lot of funds available for that purpose. Normally, people who are not able to self-fund the trip have friends in their churches, missions committees, and so forth in the churches that are able to assist with that kind of thing. I want to also say, though, that lest we get too heavy on what is needed on the field, we have people here in the Lehigh Valley that will never see Jamaica who are integrally involved with our ministry. They're coming every Tuesday night, for example, as Medipackers to get the medicines ready for us to be able to take with us when we do go to Jamaica. We have people that are making up a very strong prayer component. We have people who are giving on a regular basis. Teams for Medical Mission is a nonprofit and could not function for very long at all if it were not for people who are giving even to the general fund. And so right now, as we approach the end of the year, we're getting into the season of giving, and there's a great opportunity there. We'll probably have something in the morning call, be an angel section, and we are making some needs known that we have as we approach the end of the year. So there are ways to be involved at that level as well.
Everybody watching could be involved.
Absolutely, yes.
What has this meant for you, Don, and your life? Obviously, you keep getting pulled back to this service.
Yeah, I feel more justified living. I feel as though I'm doing what I'm called to do, and I should have retired from medicine, at 50 years instead of 53. But I am drawn to this because as long as it's fun, and as long as I feel that the expense is well justified, I'm not going to quit. And that's where it goes.
Yeah, use the word, fun. And there is a joy in service, isn't there? That is at the heart of who we are and want to be.
So many people go once, then twice, then thrice, and many have gone many, many times. And so many I've heard doctors say, for example, this is what I went to medical school to be able to do. And so they come back again and again with, as Don says, a sense of fulfillment and real purpose. And when people leave Jamaica after a period of ministry with Teams for Medical Missions, they leave knowing that there's something there that was not there when they came. They've done a job, they've finished it up, and there's really something available that was not there before.
And there's something in their heart that wasn't there before either.
Everybody's changed. The Jamaicans themselves, but certainly the team members.
Well, I want to thank my long-term friend, Dr. Don Fulmer, and the Executive Director of Teams for Medical Missions, Reverend Ray Shive, for your missionary service and for telling us about it. Join us again next week here on Taking the Initiative to see more positively different television.